Well, it's what the devil gives you, man. It's what the devil gives you. This is from everything. Everything, Wes Huff, you fake.
No. Different levels of contextual application.
He's pulling the demon out of you.
Stop. Stop, you're trying to... Stop. I can't take it.
You look like you're going through an exorcism right now.
Steve,
Is
stop.
Wes Huff pulling the devil out of you right now?
God.
He's
Oh, God,
confusing
stop.
and
It's so
Haven't you
bad.
ever heard of hermeneutics?
It's...
realms of how
It took 2,000 years, but apparently now some guy is revealing the real truth about the Gospels. This guy, I don't know anything about him. His name is Ammon Hillman, and I guess he taught at a Catholic university, St. Mary's in Minnesota. He's since been let go because he has all sorts of kooky ideas about the gospel, and he recently went viral. Is that, Mr. Davies, is that right? Do I have that right?
That's the gist. And he went viral on this podcast like 2 years ago discussing the truth of the Bible and what the real ancient Greeks said.
The truth of the Bible. You know, often, it's not every time, but when people say, well, you know, actually what the Greek really means, like 7 out of 10 times, you're about to hear the most heretical exegesis that you've ever heard in your whole life. I just want to go in and hear this guy on his own terms.
The following guest, Dr. Hillman, has a master's degree in bacteriology, a master's degree in classics, as well as a PhD in classics, until he was eventually investigated by the Catholic Church for demon possession, which led to him being ejected by his university.
Didn't the church or something come make a statement about you specifically?
I was investigated by the Catholic Church.
You were investigated by the Catholic Church. When?
When I worked for the St. Mary's University.
Really? And how did you find out about this?
I had a Monsignor come to me and say, hey, I've been to... he was one of my students, right? Keeping tabs on everything and learning Greek. He got to learn Greek in the process, so I hope he kept it up to this day. He told me, he said, I've been to 5 meetings about you.
What?
I couldn't help but laugh, you know what I mean? At this time, I had professors coming to me going, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. And, oh, by the way, we support what you're doing, but we're not going to put our asses out there.
Right.
I thought, well, cowards, but whatever. I had to stay true to the sources. So I did. So the Catholic Church, look, a student on campus claimed that she woke up at 4:35 in the morning, and that I was floating. I floated through the door of her dorm and hovered over her roommate and had with her roommate as I hovered over her bed. And then she woke up and made a noise, and I extended my hand and paralyzed her. Now, this student was released from school due to the mania. It was a mental discharge.
This was one of your students?
No, she wasn't one of my students. She was one of the students that was working on the play, the Medea, that I was the contracted advisor for.
Okay.
And the student that I allegedly hovered over and made cosmic love to was the lead role as the younger form. We had 2 forms. We had a younger, the one that killed her brother, and then an older form. Yeah. So they had a hearing. They had an inquiry.
So who did she tell this to? Who did she tell the story to?
Administration.
And then how did the Catholic Church get involved?
The Catholic Church had an inquiry, and the bishop had to come and sit. I'm sure it was hilarious.
I love this innocence of the podcast interviewer. Where he says, and how did the Catholic Church get involved? Because he obviously doesn't understand how the Catholic Church works. He thinks it's just this kind of monolithic entity, this foreign entity that just comes in every so often when there are reports of apparitions floating over a student's bed or something, when in fact it's a Catholic university. So the episcopate is going to be involved to some degree, and there are going to be bishops and priests on campus, and it's not, it's not like one day the professor rings up Rome and says, okay, send in the Inquisition. We've had a strange play of Medea. So already off the top, I don't know anything about this guy, but he does strike one as a little bit odd. One, he says, well, I had to be true to the sources. So it's a little foreshadowing of some presumably heretical view of the Gospels. I had to be true to the sources and disregard 2,000 years of church teaching, which, whatever you want to say about that view, usually does not redound to staying true to the sources. Just if I had to take a bet, who am I going to trust on the sources? The fathers of the church and the doctors of the church, everyone from St. Ignatius of Antioch through, I don't know, Justin Martyr, Jerome, Augustine, Thomas Aquinas, all the way up through present day, or like the guy with the head tattoos who directed Medea at the random university. I'm probably going with my main men. Probably. Hold on 1 second. Go to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Knowles. We all know we should be eating more fruits and vegetables, but I want you to be honest with me. You are not getting nearly enough variety. That is where Balance of Nature comes in, because what you put in your body matters. Their whole health system gives you 47 different whole food ingredients, 16 fruits, 15 vegetables, 12 aromatic spices, and 4 fibers. We're talking real ingredients like wild blueberries, kale, turmeric, and psyllium husk. When was the last time you just sat down and gorged yourself on some psyllium husk? It's probably been a while. No artificial additives, no sugar added, just nature doing its job. What I love about Balance of Nature is the convenience. I can be on the road. You take the fruits and veggies capsules with water, chew them, open them up, mix them into powder in your smoothies, your yogurt, sprinkle them on your oatmeal. Fiber and spice blend mixes great into drinks too. These supplements are vegan, kosher certified, and gluten-free. They're terrific. They will help you become a Giga Chad like myself and Mr. Davies. Go to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Knowles, K-N-W-L-A-S, for 35% off your first order as a preferred customer. Plus, get a free bottle of fiber and spice. That is balanceofnature.com. Promo code Knowles. So already off the top, and he's got these kind of weird tics. So, all right, now we've got this apparition, the cosmic lovemaking, as he says. Keep going.
I had a group of people before the inquiry. I had a group of people come to me and say, I was like, who are these people in my office? And they said, we know who you are, and we know what you're doing, and the demons that you're working with. And I was like, excuse me? Right? Excuse me? And then there was the inquiry, the formal inquiry, and I'm told it was 2 charges. Number 1 was demon possession, which personally I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty metal.
No, that is, yeah. Number 2, I was opening portals.
It's not that I'm calling the guy a liar. I just don't know that I believe this guy. Just from his comportment, from his manner of speaking, from the head tattoos, if I'm being totally frank about my prejudices, I'm skeptical. Then he's clearly a jilted ex-employee. That colors it too. From his apparently tenuous grasp of Catholicism, though he was teaching at a Catholic school, through the loose jokes that he's making. Even to say, I think it's metal to be accused of demon possession. I get the joke, but that's really not the sort of thing one jokes about if one takes these things all that seriously. You can joke about demons, but I wouldn't want to joke about playing around with demons, demon possession.
There's a lot of people online that really want this guy to debate you. So let's listen to what his response is to your translation of the word Christ.
Hold on 1 second. So this is so Inception. I'm reacting to Wes Huff reacting to this guy reacting, now to Wes Huff reacting to. Now we're caught in an Ouroboros. Do I have that right, Ben?
Yeah, and then we're all watching it.
And you're reacting to me. You're in the Ouroboros too. Okay, keep going.
Perfect. Here we go.
Eternal throne as the second person of the Trinity stepping into humanity. But if you were to say to someone after this, if someone said like, hey, you met Wes Huff, how was he? And you went, he's a little bit condescending. You wouldn't be talking about my humility.
No.
Right? Because that word has a different meaning in its different context. And part of the problem with something like what Ammon says is that he's taking terminology that exists within the parameters of a specific field, and then he's applying them in areas where there's an entirely different contextual meaning and spectrum of understanding.
It's a big turd.
Part
Pinch
of what
it
he
off.
said that some people jumped on was that he says that the word Christ comes from the Greek word chrio, which
Yes.
it does, right? To anoint. And in ancient Greek medical texts, there is a usage of that which he has capitalized on with applying drugs to your eyes. Now, more broadly, Rio does mean to rub, particularly a liquid ointment or substance, on your body. There's two sort of terms that are used specifically within biblical studies, but this applies to anything within the ancient world where we're trying to come up with translations in deriving meaning. The first is there's a discipline called hermeneutics, and hermeneutics is this interpretation.
It's so funny about
the
hermeneutics.
methodology of interpretation that we use on a particular text. Before hermeneutics is exegesis, and exegesis is a Greek word that literally means to bring out. Right, the opposite would be eisegesis, to read into. So when you're exegeting something and you're looking at an ancient language, you're trying to get at the author's intention by different levels of contextual application.
He's
So
pulling the
there's
demon out of you.
Stop.
contextualization,
Stop.
there's
You're trying to.
document contextualization,
Stop.
there's
I can't take it. I
historical
can't take it. I can't take
You
it.
look
Please,
like you're
thank you.
going through an exorcism
Steve,
right now.
Steve,
Is
Ammon
Wes
is
Huff pulling the
doing
devil out of
Oh,
you right now?
God.
He's
Oh, God,
confusing
stop.
and
It's so
Haven't
conflating
you ever heard of
whole
hermeneutics?
It's
realms of how we do
Stop. You're trying to get to the intention of the author. No, you're not. You're reading an ancient language.
Ammon, you're pulling out a specific context in Galen's medical text and trying to apply it to everything across the board,
Here's
which
the
is
problem.
which is intellectually dishonest.
Here's the problem. I'm not pulling it out of Galen. Does Galen have it? Yes. Euripides has it. He gets a sex drug that is a Christ. One of the characters asks, is it a Christ? This is not from the medical. This is from everything. Everything, Wes Huff, you fake. Well, it's what the devil gives you, man. It's what the devil gives you. Look, he's been pumped up in his pride. He thinks he's something now because he slaughtered somebody who was making stuff up. Well, guess what? This is the gymnasium of the cosmos, baby. Right? You'll be taken down. You'll be taken down by somebody who knows.
Well, I'm really torn after watching this clip because, what do I don't know anything about ancient Greek. In most of my experience, this is not a knock on Wes in any way. Wes has clearly a very good handling of ancient manuscripts. But when you're talking to like Joe Schmo on the street, Joe Schmo evangelist or anti-evangelist, Joe Schmo on Twitter, he says, well, actually, if you go back to the ancient Greek, and none of these people have any grasp on ancient Greek. So I certainly don't. I have a tenuous grasp on Latin. That's more my tradition. So I don't know. I mean, Ammon might be making an interesting point here, which is, no. This context of the word that we get Christ from is not merely coming from this ancient medical text, but it's also coming from a classic of Western literature, which is Medea by Euripides. And actually, this is the common way to use this word. Now, again, you might say, well, it's the common way to use this word in a certain era or in a certain place or in a certain kind of text, and that's not here. So he might still be reading something strange into the Gospels, but it's unclear. And Wes Huff is very good at, speaking in a way that is easily communicating an idea to an audience. And he's saying, look, this guy's reading is outside of what the text permits. And he says, here's what hermeneutics is. Hermeneutics, interpretive methods, and then exegesis, which is pulling out of the text. And then the guy Ammon, his response to it is not really so much refuting Wes Huff on the points. He's just saying, Wes Huff, he's prideful. I don't like the way he's telling me this or something. I know what hermeneutics is, whatever. And you don't, it's kind of the same criticism that you sometimes hear lobbed at us, at right-wing talking heads. Conservative commentators that say, you're really good at debating 21-year-old know-nothings, but you don't ever debate serious experts, because a lot of our viral clips have happened on campus. And so that's basically the claim that Ammon is making against Wes. The problem is there's no way to judge if it's fair or not, because no one ever really gets to the claim. I'm waiting to see what is the radical exegesis that this guy who clearly has some strange tics and odd things about him is getting at. And we never really quite get to it. So I have this odd way of interpreting the word Christ. Okay. It's basically just like diss tracks is all we're getting. He allegedly says something, then Wes Huff responds in a typically polite and erudite way, and then this guy just does a diss track about the but we never actually get down to the substance. But now I'm curious. I wasn't that curious before we looked into this. Now I kind of want to see. There's a chance the guy is not a total lunatic. He does sound a bit out there, but I don't know. Maybe, do we need to get him and Wes on the show? Do we need to get them face to face?
I think that'd be great.
Let's do it.
Do you think that after watching the second video, do you think the Catholic Church was right into having an inquiry into that guy?
Well, what does that even? The problem is I don't know if I believe anything he says. It's also like not. It's not like, you know, the Pope picks up the phone. He's like, we need an inquiry into this random professor in Minnesota. That's not really how it works. I don't know that I believe him that there was an inquiry into his possession or any such allegation or claim. Usually the way this would work is that if one is suspected of demonic possession or any kind of demonic affliction, that person would go to his priest. He would be referred to an exorcist. The exorcist would then refer him to psychologists, psychiatrists, try to find a natural explanation for that. And then if there is no natural explanation, then you look into some spiritual explanations. So again, I don't know that even his story checks out. He might have just been fired for being kind of a weird professor. Weirdos in academia that's not a man bites dog story. So I'd want to know much more about that. His reaction to Wes Huff debunking him did have the performance of something demonic to it, you know, kind of odd voices and everything. But that might have been performative. The guy obviously likes the theater. He was directing Medea. Is it all a show? Is it real? I don't. If I were purely basing my interpretation of this man on a not sola scriptura, like sola video dura or something like that, I would say I don't know that he doesn't strike me as the most credible. But we got to get him on to debate, and then we can judge for ourselves. Ben, make that happen.
I'm on it.